وبه نستعين على كل أمور الدنيا والدين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، سيدنا وحبيبنا وشفيعنا ونور قلوبنا وقرة أعيننا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. نوينا تعلم وتعليم وتذكر وتذكير والنفع والانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة والحث على التمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم، ودعاء إلى الهدى ودلالة على الخير ابتغاء وجه الله ومرضاته وقربه وثوابه سبحانه وتعالى، مع لطف وعافية برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم، والحمد لله رب العالمين. آمين آمين يا رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I'm going to begin today's lesson with takbir, because here in Tarim it is the night of Eid. For all of you in other parts of the world or in Singapore especially, you are on the day of Arafah. The day of Arafah, the takbir al-mu'akkad, begins. Meaning the takbir that is connected to the prayer timings. Right, there is takbir that is continuous that will begin on the Maghrib of the day of Eid, like all the way until the prayer of Eid, and it's a continuous takbir that I am in right now. Okay, right now I'm in the takbir, whereby it's a continuous takbir. And mashallah, if I could record Tarim's, atmosphere here in Tarim, right? You hear continuous takbir through the night, right? Through the night. It's just continuous takbir, one mosque after another mosque, after another mosque, after another mosque. Last night, I think around Isha time, I was hearing a takbir by a child, mashallah, so cute. I was, well, it was, I don't know which mosque it was, but he was a child. He was so happy to takbir. You can hear in his voice, so excited. His voice was like piercing through the air, and the whole of Tari could hear his voice. Small child. It sounded like a 7 year old, I think, a 7 year old, 8 year old, mashallah. Yeah, so that is the takbir that is continuous, right? From Maghrib to the Salat of Eid, which is for us here in Tarim. Happening around 6 a.m. in the morning, inshallah. And then you have the takbir that is there is a prayer connected, it's connected prayer. And that begins on after Fajr on the day of Arafah. So right now you all, if you all had prayed Fajr, inshallah you had prayed Fajr. This morning after Fajr, it was sunnah for you to do the takbir. Okay, later on after Dhuhr, sunnah for the takbir again. Like, and then after Asr, you see, after any prayer, even after Duha, you're gonna pray Duha after this, right? You can do the takbir thereafter. Right? So any prayer that you perform, right, there is a sunnah of doing the takbir. So I'm gonna do the takbir inshallah. For myself, because it's sunnah for me, right? For you all, if you have done the prayer later on, just a reminder. Okay, so after Zohar, after Asr, after your Sunnah prayers, after your Duha prayers, any prayer, even after this lesson, if you want to do Salat Ishraq, like go ahead, and then do the takbir. This year, mashallah, for you all, your day of Arafah is on a Sunday. That is a fursa, it is an opportunity that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed your day of Arafah on a public holiday, Sunday. Like, so you can fill the day with worship, subhanAllah, and bring your children in. This is something that I really want to emphasize today, mashallah, from the book of Habib Umar, Khuluquna, on emphasizing or exalting, aggrandizing, like the sha'airillah, right? The sha'airillah, the emblems of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like, teach them to do takbir, put it, big in the house, put it up, takbir, so that they learn to recite the takbir and they memorize the takbir. So many people, even adults, they don't memorize the takbir of Eid. How can you not memorize the takbir of Eid? Memorize the takbir of Eid. The formulation that we have here in Tarim continues into a slawat, the form of slawat. So I'm just going to recite it. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. الله أكبر ولله الحمد. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد. الله أكبر كبيرا والحمد لله كثيرا وسبحان الله بكرة وأصيلا. لا إله إلا الله ولا نعبد إلا إياه مخلصين له الدين ولو كره الكافرون. لا إله إلا الله وحده صدق وعده ونصر عبده وأعز جنده وهزم الأحزاب وحده. لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وعلى أصحاب سيدنا محمد وعلى أنصار سيدنا محمد وعلى أزواج سيدنا محمد وعلى ذرية سيدنا محمد وسلم تسليما كثيرا. الحمد لله الحمد لله. Okay, continuing with our book from yesterday, right? So, alhamdulillah. So that takbir, actually, if you don't have the document at all, or you can't find a document, you can actually find it it's in the Bali app. The Bali app has everything. So if you can download the Bali app, right, it'd be so much goodness. Like, just get the Bali app. Right, so the Bali app, if you go on the blessed events, you just scroll down, you can find eight takbirs, right? And it's the same takbir for both, right? And you can get it from there. Okay, alhamdulillah. Right, so today's lesson, mashallah, we're still on tarbiyah, mashallah, right? And today is a really beautiful day, mashallah. I to explain that these elements of tarbiyah, regards to tarbiyah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, tarbiyah in the Quran. Right, I'm going to go into a bit today, as I mentioned, with regards to tarbiyah of tarbiyah al-Quraniyah wa nabawiyah. But just to backtrack a little bit, to speak about the tarbiyah, of where Habib says, وَنَهْتَمُّ بِتَرْبِيَةِ أَبْنَائِنَا وبناتنا. Okay, I'm going to just go back a little bit, right, to speak about this too. Right, so تربية أبنائنا, our sons, right, وتربية بناتنا, our daughters. Right, so, and of course, the tarbiyah of sons and tarbiyah of daughters, they are different, right, because inherently, the genders are different. Right, genders are different. Right, and subhanallah, there's a lot of you see a lot of studies, a lot of studies that have been going on, especially in our zaman, on the ill effects, right, of the absent parent, right, in the lives of boys, in the lives of girls, right? So, subhanallah, and especially there been studies going on, about the ill effects of the absent father, right? The absent father, right? People don't realize that it is a major thing, when fathers are not present, right, in the lives of their children. Right? Fathers don't realize this, mothers don't realize this, the importance of the father figure. Subhanallah. And in the West, they have all these, figures that they are doing, all this research that they're doing, because they're trying to push the agenda that they have, right, to allow for freedom for abortion, right? Because then they give all these figures of how, the crime rate, and the rate of, people who go into drugs and alcohol and promiscuity, and all kinds of, social ills, right? And they trace it back, right, to the absence of the father, right? The absence of the father. So you see that would be on an extreme situation, which is happening, around the world, right? Because of the absence of a father figure, right, or a healthy father figure, a respectable father figure, right, a leader, right, in the family, especially in the religion. I see so many angles with regards to this. So physically, the absent father, or a father who's unable to lead, right? Or a father who is not religiously educated, right? So he's unable to have to command the respect, right, that a father should have, right, in the religion. There's so many things that is just corrupted and is all breaking down in the family unit. And that all traces back to the father. There is a lot of responsibility on the shoulders of men. Yes, like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala places a lot of responsibility on the shoulders of men. So ironically, subhanAllah, this is in the West, you do all these studies, of the ill effects, on society and the burden on society, and the destruction of society, of children that grow up without fathers, right? So without fathers, without the presence of a father. And for them, they're doing all this research because they want to legalize, abortion. Right? They want to have every woman have the right, right, to abort whatever child that she conceives because they are a promiscuous society. They have no haya, they have no modesty, they have no laws and regulations, they have no rules and regulations. They are people who go around, fornicating all the time and they get pregnant, and these people, they have no religion, right? They get pregnant all the time. So they want to have, no, it's a feminist movement, right? It's a feminist movement. They want to have the right, right, to their bodies and their lives, right? After being so irresponsible and promiscuous, right? And they want to have the right to get rid of the child, right? That they go around sleeping with so many men, and then they get pregnant, and then they wanted the right to get rid of the child. And therefore they do all of these statistics, they do all of this, research and statistics to kind of, prove, right, to society that to get rid of the child is better for society than to actually give birth and have the child out of wedlock with an absent father because she never got married in the first place, right? And she just went around with men and got herself pregnant. And so also the feminist movement is so sick, the feminist movement. And I wonder at Muslims who are still, proudly saying they are feminists. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. They did not understand what feminism is all about, right? They have no understanding. For a Muslim to become still, proud to say that they're feminists or still proudly following the feminist movement or proudly feminist, right? Subhanallah. And if you understand what they are about, then I would say that, you are directly going against your religion, directly going against your prophet, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, directly, right? Wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. How to come on to your judgment. So anyway, right. So anyway, with the same statistics, right? Same statistics, the same statistics, right? Now, it also spells, right, the need for the father in the home. And the same statistics, because they're using the statistics to kind of push the agenda, right, to allow for abortions. So same statistics, we take the same statistics, right? The same, finding, the same research, and we say, this just shows the importance of having a righteous, upright, guiding father figure in the home. And I begin with the father because it's representing the fathers, right? From this statement, he's addressing the fathers. Then he will address the mothers, right? That you need to place as your priority. A lot of men, right? There are a few things that the men think. Okay, and it's all to speak to men. I speak to the men. They think that okay, my wife is at home and she's nurturing the children. Well, khalas, enough. Like my job is to earn money, bring food to the table, and I'm done. Right? My wife does all the nurturing of the children, and I don't care. Right? So they kind of wash their hands off of it. That is very wrong. That is very wrong. Subhanallah. I remember when I was growing up, my father, right, he would actually, he would actually give us chocolates. Like if we could tell him randomly, randomly, I think I was primary school or something. I still remember him doing this. Like if we could tell him randomly what is the meaning of Subhanallah, or the meaning of Alhamdulillah, or the meaning of La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Like I mean, Subhanallah, my father's not someone who knows Arabic. He doesn't know Arabic. No, I mean, when I was young, mashallah, he doesn't know Arabic. I have my father. He does not know Arabic. Right. So and his ideologies, mashallah, my father. Right. So but I still remember as growing up as a child, he would do this to us. In a sense, he would show, I mean, he would have some level of religious authority. It's not hard. Children know very little. Right? It's not hard for any man, right? To just have a level of religious authority. We're not asking you to be an alim or a ustad or a sheikh. No, like just lead the family in the prayer. Lead them in the Quran. Like if you struggle in the Quran, then work together, right? Do something. Right? The fathers cannot wash their hands off of this. It's not allowed. Fathers, you're not allowed to wash your hands off of this. Right? Subhanallah, you can't just say, oh, my mom, my wife's handling everything. So therefore, I'm going to just focus on my business, on my work, on my shifts, on my whatever. No, you're being neglectful. You're being neglectful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not command you to work all day, all day long, round the clock, right? And then not be involved in the religious upbringing of your children, right? The absent father is detrimental to the upbringing of children, the absent father. So I remember my father, no matter how busy he was, he would make time for us when I was growing up, mashallah. And of course, if you look at my parents, right, to be, can be honest, my mother, she's the one, right, who gave us a lot of our religious education. I owe it to my mother. She would put in her effort, every effort, mashallah, my mother. Even to the point where when she realized that she was sending us to weekend madrasa, making us go for weekend madrasa, and it was all in Malay, right? And she realized that we were all not getting it, and we were all not getting it. We were not living the religion. We were not, being attached to the religion. We were not learning what we were supposed to be learning, right? She took it upon herself to open up classes in English, which she is continuing till today. And which some of my brothers do attend, still attend till today. I used to attend it in religious day as well. But then once I came to study whatsoever, I got very busy on my own, right? But my mother, when we were teenagers, she realized that we were not getting our religion because of the language barrier. We're not Malay speaking people. We do learn Malay in school, right? But because my father's not Malay, my father it doesn't speak Malay, right? So therefore our house language is English. Right, so there was a big block. There was a big block when we went to madrasa. We end madrasa. I used to go to Firdaus, we end madrasa, and I can tell you I didn't learn anything at all because like the Malay, it was just too hard, and I would switch off. I would switch off. I was secondary school, so I was like I would go to the madrasa and I would switch off. And my mother realizes that we were switching off, right? And she took it upon herself. Islam, right, in English. People. And she took it upon herself to teach her children Islam and English back all the way. When was this? When I was in secondary school, early 2000s, like early 2000s secondary school. I know in primary school, my parents would teach in the home. They would teach Islam in the home. They teach us in the home. So I remember being in primary school that my father had a competition. I still remember till today. That a competition, among us, that if you were to put us and say, tell me the meaning of Alhamdulillah, right? If you could tell him, and I remember it was because of this competition, they memorized all this, the meanings of the dhikr. They will say, oh, Alhamdulillah means praise be to Allah. Praises to Allah. And then randomly you will point to anyone and will say, "Can tell me the meaning of Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar means Allah's the greatest. Primary school children, right? We were primary school. And he would do this with us. And I remember him doing this. And this was an impact. It was an impact. And I still remember also when I was in primary school, they're all memories of tarbiyah. So this is what you want to do with your children. You want to build these memories. And I am grateful to my parents that they put in their best with what they knew. Right? Now I look back and I see my father, mashallah, he put in his best with what he knew. He put in his best with what he knew, right? And they saw their children that we were not Malay speaking, we were not connecting to the Malay, to the Malay asatiza, right? At that time in Singapore, in the 1990s and the 2000s, you could hardly find an English speaking teacher, right? You could hardly find an English teacher. And when people ask me, where do I get my Islam from? In English, I will say primarily my parents. It was my parents, primarily my parents. They were my first English speaking teachers right, in Islam. The first ones because they saw a void. They saw, that there was a need. And they can't just rely on anyone else because it's their own children. It's their children. And they can't, like, so say, can one ustad be speaking in English, one ustad be doing it in English, can someone, be doing it in English? You know what? No one's doing it in English, we do it in English. And they began doing it in English. Subhanallah, I still remember when I was very young, I think I was primary one or primary two. These are all memories that are etched in my head. And I remember I was sitting there in my father would have like a halaqah with us. He would sit down and he would teach us the basics of the religion, the basics. That is also one of the reasons why, that for myself, that I keep rewriting this some books. The first time I wrote them, it was very basic. Then I added on and I added on and I added on stories after stories and stories into this Will some books, because what I want is that parents pick this up and you teach your children. Okay, parents, you teach your children. Like I keep saying, because the books are comprehensive. The books are complete, right? So these books, the syllabus, the really some books that I produced, like the books, the syllabus is based on one of the great scholars in Singapore, Ustad Abdullah Al-Jifri. The syllabus is based on his books, and then I added into these books conversation, dialogue, stories. For you to open up Islam to your children, you and your children, you. And really, anyone with basic Islam, honestly, anyone with basic Islam can pick up these books and teach their children. Literally, anybody with basic Islam. You have some Islam, and in fact, as an adult, you should have this level of Islam. You should have this very basic Islam as an adult, and you can teach these books. Subhanallah. Right? So I just remember there was one time I was I was my husband, my father, he would have a halaqah with us children, there's seven of us, right? And I remember at primary one, primary two, like he sat there. Still remember it very clearly. He sat there and he said, "Okay, who?" He was playing a game with us. He was saying, "Who can tell me, what number I am ticking off right now in my mind?" It's an interesting game playing with small children. Right. So I still remember we were all trying to guess, because we're children and this is what we do. Right. We just try to do this kind of things. To guess all kind of random numbers. And my father was like, nope, 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 nope. And he keeps saying no to all of our guesses. And then he was like, do you know who knows exactly what number I'm carrying in my head? I'm thinking about in my head. Right. And then I was like, who could tell? Who would know? Right. And then I still remember, because there was the first time in my life, I think I was primary one. There was the first time in my life that I realized Allah could read our thoughts. I didn't know that. I was primary one that I realized that. That Allah can read my thoughts, really? MashaAllah. So my father was like, the only one who knows exactly what number I have in my head is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah can go right into your thoughts and right into your heart, and Allah knows exactly what you are thinking. And I still remember that his statement when he said that. These are simple things, simple things that we all know, right? We're all Muslims, we all know this. Right? But subhanAllah, coming from your father makes all the difference. Tell you that. Like coming from your father, it makes all the difference. And I really appreciate my father, that I know he has limited, Islamic knowledge. He does. And my father. But when I look back, he put in so much effort with his children. Right. As I mentioned yesterday, he would print out all these du'as, in Arabic, transliteration, and English, and he would paste them all over the house. Like he was not concerned about the design of the house, or how beautiful the house looks or whatever. No, he was concerned about teaching his children Islam. So we used to have the dua of the mirror. When no one knew dua of mirror, we had it in our house. Dua of taking off your clothes, putting on your clothes. We had it in our house. And we had, that literally every dua that you could find, it was stuck up in our house. It was there. And my father, subhanallah. And then he would of course he would enforce, on us at least once a week. Of course, if you do it every single day. I know my mom had an uncle. Every single morning, the father would make azan in the house, right, loudly. These are things that you can do. It's not hard. It's about priority. over in the house of their uncles, right? They would go to the house of their, aunties and their uncles, and they would take them in. My mother and her siblings, because they were, they were without father, right? So they would spend time in the houses of their uncles and aunties, and she would receive tarbiyah from them as well. And she would receive tarbiyah from them. And she had an uncle, right, or an auntie, basically an auntie on my grandfather's side. Um, like whereby he had, 5 boys and 5 girls, right? 10 children, 5 boys, 5 girls in basically a 2 room apartment, a 2 or 3 room apartment. And so basically, all the girls were in one room and all the boys were in the hall. People of long always how they live, right? They live in this way. And they will have mattresses, so at night it will be laid out and they will sleep there. And in the morning they will pile them up, right? They pile the mattresses. This is also in Singapore, years ago. And she would say that her uncle every single day, right, would call the adhan, right? In fact, not just him, but he would train his sons, right? His 5 sons, he would train them to give the adhan every morning or every waqtu, right? Every prayer timing. Train. It's not hard. It's not hard to do this. It's really not hard. Adhan is adhan. Anyone can do. Adhan is easy, right? So, but every morning, one of his sons will be trained. They have a roster, right? They do the adhan. And then the family will pray Fajr, bidarura. They pray Fajr, like wajib. Everybody in Jama'ah every morning. It's tarbiyah. It's tarbiyah. Right, every single morning, then the family prays Fajr together. What's your excuse? No excuse. Everybody prays Fajr. And everybody is home for Fajr, most of them. Especially in their schooling days, primary school, secondary school. Everybody is home for Fajr. Pray Fajr together daily. Right? Daily pray Fajr together. This would cause keep things muted kalau can force mute. Can you force mute Kak Reggie? Okay. So keep things, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. So pray Fajr every single day, right? Subhanallah. I mean, if a man is finding that his work is, the timing is so strange that you're not able to find time, or consistent time with your children, then really, really look at your job. Is it worth it? The kind of time that you're spending in your job. And because of that, you have to necessarily neglect the tarbiyah of your children. It's on your shoulders, oh men. It's on their shoulders. I know I'm speaking to women right now, right? But I'm doing commentary of the book, and there is a full address of the men. I address on men because there's also men doing tarbiyah of their wives, right? So there's tarbiyah on their sons, tarbiyah on their daughters, tarbiyah on their wives, tarbiyah on their family as a whole. And inshallah, I also want to go into, into women as mothers. How do we do this tarbiyah? And one of the very important tarbiyah that we need to instill in our children is respect for their father, right? There's a very important tarbiyah that we need to instill in our children, right? Respect for their father. And of course, on the men's side, they need to back up. They need to back up and they need to not do things that cause for them to lose the respect of their children. And mashallah, I work, on platforms where I speak to people. So many people are suffering from the absent or negligent father, the absent or negligent father. So subhanallah, as women, if you're raising sons, right, so then do society a favor, right, raise your sons well to be great fathers in themselves. That is what you want your son to be when he grows up, a great father, right? So not like I want my son to be a doctor, I want my son to be a lawyer, I want my son to be all of these innovations. No, 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 no. Right? When you say, what do you want from your son when he grows up? To be a great Muslim, right? To be a great Muslim and to be a great father, right? To nurture the next generation. That's what I want from my son, right? Subhanallah. So in a sense, even if they had upbringing that could have been better, right? Don't continue the cycle, right? Improve on the cycle, right? Don't go into this very vicious cycle, no, right? So subhanallah, right? So mashallah, for fathers, right? There has to be subhanallah. I was talking to my brother here in Tarim, right? And he was just saying to me that it's very hard for him to be in the tartib in the Mustafa because there was tartib, morning you go to school, at night you go to school, right? This is the tartib of the men, Right, in the Tari morning, they have classes from Fajr up till late morning, and then at night after Maghrib till late night they have classes as well. Right. So I was asking him why you're not in school. And he was like, he can do the morning section, but he can't do the night one. Then I said to him, why? Right. So he said that, well, the children, right, they go to school morning, and I actually agree with him what he said. See, the children they go to school morning, right, all the way to Zohar. Right. Most schools are like that. Right, in here in Tarim. From morning to Zohar, people are in school, the wives are in school, the kids are in school, right? They come back. They come back, they have lunch, they sleep. Okay. After time comes, after time is really playtime. Okay, please don't take the after time of the children. I know many people in Singapore, right? They make after time the time for tuition. Your child has gone to school in the morning, right? After time is playtime. My father used to bring us to the park. He used to bring us, to play. He would teach us rounders. He used to buy floorball sticks. He used to play floorball. My father he even bought a entire basketball net, and he dug it into the ground. We live in a condo. He actually dug into the ground and he made this basketball net thing and for us to play. Like he bought a table tennis table, my father, and for us to play. He bought the pool table. My father, he did a lot, right, to keep us physically, active, right? Physically active. So I used to play floorball to the point that when I went to JC to my college, right, I could get right into the team of the football the hockey team because I used to play hockey and floorball. He would buy hockey sticks, he would buy floorball sticks. So as I was in primary school, I would play a lot of hockey and floorball to the point that I was I could do it naturally. So when I went to JC, I got into the team easily. Because and they thought I had played before, but I had not played before. I was just playing at home. And my father used to teach us all these sports, and he'll bring us out and teach us all these sports. Mashallah, mashallah, you bring I mean to the park, cycling, whatsoever. Like Asar time is playtime. Don't take this away from them. Okay. Asar time is to be healthy, be under the sun. Go out there and play. Right. So even for me personally, right, that I try to have, a once a week with my niece and nephew having time with your children. How do you feel? I already as an auntie, I feel that I'm losing out so much. But I'm overseas right now to study, right? But I can't wait to get home and to nurture my nephews and my nieces. I can't wait. I feel I'm so far from them, right? And they're growing up so fast. And I wonder at parents that you're watching your kids grow up so fast and you are missing in their lives. Do you not feel the pain? I feel the pain as an auntie. I feel the pain. I'm not there for them. I'm not present in their lives. I'm not with them for their birthdays. I'm not with them every single day. I feel the pain that I'm overseas for a while to study for their sake. And I'm studying for the sake of our children, to bring some guidance for the end of times. Like it's a small investment, of a few years, for a greater good, inshallah. But I wonder as an auntie, I feel the pain when I'm not, present in their lives, right now because I'm overseas. But once a week, I try to have, we call it Mushi Madrasa, right? Once a week, Mushi Madrasa, you must see with me. Like once a week, I meet them online, right? And my intention is really we can cover anything and everything, whatever they want. I will cover with them, whatever story they want. I will tell them, right? But I will make it a point that once a week, I come online, I see them, right? I speak to them. I get to know what's going on with them, right? They know how to chat with me directly. So they have used the Zoom platform to talk to me directly. They have no WhatsApp. They're primary school. They have no WhatsApp. They speak to me directly. So some of them they would type stuff to me directly to tell me things that's going on with them. They're beginning to tell me. So I see what they say to me. Right? This is connection. And so for me, subhanallah, my timing is so packed, subhanallah, so packed. Like, sometimes my husband will be like, why do you do this? It's once a week, 1 hour, I'll give them. And the best timing for me is actually 6:30 Singapore. 6:30 to 7:30 Singapore is the best timing for me. But I don't want to take their asar. Even if it's once a week, I don't want to take their asar. Asar time is playtime. Right. So I would actually say to my siblings, the class is 7:30. At 7:30 after Maghrib, they come and speak to me. We come and have our class, we do some Quran, we do some stories. I connect with them because I don't want them to grow up disconnected to me. Then later on, when I want to guide them, to speak to them when they're teenagers, when they're young adults, how can I connect with them? And the entire time when they were young, I never connected. You see that? And I'm an aunt, I'm not a parent. What more parents? They're growing up in front of your eyes, connecting with them by the religion. Connect with them by the religion. This is the most important connection. You need to connect with your children by religion. And it's not hard. No one's going to ask you to be a mufti, just the very basics. Most of the time they even bring their own books to me. They buy some books, their parents buy some books for them, some religious books. Last week, mashallah, my niece in Kuala Lumpur, so I have a niece in Kuala Lumpur. My brother lives there, Amar Munshi. Like his daughter, Shifa. Like Shifa, mashallah, she looks forward to these classes because it also, I think, is her connection to her cousins, who are in Singapore, all over the world. We have technology, use it. Right. So this is Shifa, she brought her book, she had this, apa cerita, it's in Malay lah, cerita yang terbaik dari Quran, the best stories in the Quran. And then she was holding it for the camera, and I said, Shifa, should I see what is in there? Like Shumasi was the first story. Like, and then she should, and then I saw, a story of Sayyidina Uzair. Okay, come, I tell story of Sayyidina Uzair, come. Right? And even if you don't know the story of Sayyidina Uzair, read the book. Read the book, find out the story of Sayyidina Uzair. It's not hard. It's right there. So many resources, ya Allah. Parents, you have no excuse. You have no excuse why you are not directly teaching your children the religion. You have no excuse. It's in the books. It's all there. It's prepared. Right? Subhanallah. So they were saying that, I make myself, because when I come back from school around 1 o'clock, I 1 o'clock coming from school around 1:20, it's just easier for me to just teach from 1:30 to 2:30, 30, which is 6:30 in Singapore, to 7:30 in Singapore. It's easier for me. Then I sleep. I have my kailula, then I wake up for Asr. But I don't want to take their Asr from them. Because if I take 6:30, that's playground time. And that's playground time, that's park time, that's swimming time, that's their physical activity time. It's before Maghrib, right? So I make myself, I take my rest first, and I force myself to get up at 2:30 to break my kailula. I will break my kailula, I will get up, right? And then I would teach them. Right, 3 to 3:30, I will teach them. But at least once a week, I'm with them, right? And subhanallah, I mean, it does make my heart cool, make my heart, feel warm or feel cool. Like that when I do skip, and I try my best not to skip, but when I do skip, they ask. And they actually ask. They say, how come this week on the Munshi Madrasa? They say, oh, masih busy, masih have classes, masih have exams. And then, so now I'm trying my best to just not skip, just not skip. And no matter what, I'm trying my best to keep it consistent. That even if I have exams, I have whatever that's going on, as far as I can, I don't skip. This once week because especially for some of my nephews and nieces, like my nephew Adam, he will ask, he will watch him do wudu. You are the one responsible because the religion is individual. And therefore, the education of the religion is one on one. Necessarily so, eh? Necessarily so. The education of the religion is one on one. Like I can teach a class of people, right? And maybe then in front of me, I can check their wudu, I can check their salat. I do in Masjid Khalid, I do that. I check their wudu, I check their salat in front of me, and I do it right. But day to day, are they doing their wudu right? Are they doing their salat right? I can't see because I don't live with them. You live with them, oh parents. You see them every day, and you see their development every day. Subhanallah. Anyway, we are kind of like way past time. Like, but this topic, I feel like, mashallah, I 45 minutes so short to cover anything, ya Allah. Right, so subhanallah, really emphasize on yourselves, on your and so it's even worse when both parents are not involved in the religious education of their children. Both parents not involved. And if you say, what, I know I've had people, they say they're converts, they're reverts, they're new to this, they don't know a lot about this. Fine, that's okay, that's okay. Learn together. So when they come to madrasa, they come to weekend madrasa, they come to Masjid Khalid, right? Go through the material with them after that. What's stopping you from doing that? It's primary school material, right? So if you are new to Islam, if you're a revert, okay, give you that if you're a revert. For those who are not new to Islam, you've been born a Muslim, right? What's stopping you from taking all this material that they have gone through in school? Getting the number of of the ustada or the ustad. We're all here available for you to ask your questions, to get directives, to get guidance. We're all here for you. That's our job. You're not bothering us when you try and get guidance from us. Subhanallah, that's our job. That's our primary. As Wahab said, nahtam bitarbiyatihim. That it is our priority, the tarbiyah. So for asatiza, our priority is the tarbiyah of the next generation, and to help parents do that. That is our number one priority. And we see now teacher Habib Omar over and over and over again. He will guide parents how to parent, because it is their priority, subhanAllah. Right. So right, so there's some questions here. The book that we're doing is Khuluquna. Is Khuluquna by Habib Omar. There's another question I saw. Where did the question go? Did it disappear? Let me just see. Okay, someone says, does the father have to be present physically? Yes. I say yes. I say yes, they need to do physically, or maybe virtually phone calls. As far as possible, if he can be physical. His job calls for him to be overseas a lot, and he lives overseas. He comes once a month. And I know some people that look at situations. That's not the ideal situation. If he can have a better job, it's better. It's better that way. But if let's say he has to stay with his job, he has no other choice. For example, right? Then nightly, I nightly have a session, right, with his children nightly, right? Do calls, do classes. I do classes with them. I teach them Islam. So it's not just talking, randomly and talking nonsense. No, I know some fathers is what they do. They're the jokers of the house. That's not healthy. And that's not healthy that if you are the father and you're the joker of the house. Like you have no respect, being called to yourself. The father's the imam, not the joker, right, of the house, right? So of course, with regards to children who are in broken families, right, fathers who are in prison, this is the thing, the calamity of society, right? The calamity of society, the absent father, right? Because the fathers are in prison, or even worse, that now that there is actually a big problem worldwide, not just in Singapore, but worldwide, whereby in divorces, the mother gets custody and she denies her children any access to their father. And in doing so, she thinks she's punishing her ex-husband. No, she is hurting her own children when she does that. I know of so many cases of women who refuse to give fathers access to their children. And when in doing so, you're just hurting your own children. You are guilty of doing that, and you're guilty of cutting off rahim, causing people to cut off ties with their parents. Right. So for children, and we do also work, at Jangoko, we have people who have kids with no fathers, kids out of, it's the thing that the entire ill of society, kids out of wedlock, kids who are, this is what Shaitan wants. It's a whole world. We spoke about this during the Tahawulat on Friday, with regards to al-Mubilat al-Fitan. It's a whole system of corruption to lead, to the destruction of a next generation. So a lot of factors come in. The absent father, people in crime, people in drugs, people who are abusive, people who are, and the whole thing causes a collapse in society. So for those who have fathers who are in prison or fathers who just don't want to be involved with their children or children who are born out of wedlock, so the fathers are not involved whatsoever. Like, of course, there has to be people around the children, the people around the children, like need to come in. I need to come in and take and take rules, pick up rules. The uncle, the auntie, those who are around the children, even a teacher, right? If there is no father to father them, someone has to father them, right? So the grandmother, while she's raising them, yes, mashallah, mashallah, and the grandmother taking the role of father and mother, mashallah, is grandmother. And I met people who are like that, whereby out of wedlock children, especially kids out of wedlock, usually a lot of times grandparents take over. The parents are still out there, heedless, carefree, they don't care about their kids whatsoever. The grandparents try their best to do some tarbiyah, of his children. They do their very best, subhanallah. Right. So the grandmother will take on the role of father and mother. And so of course it's still, not as if he was a real father, but mashallah, by the barakah of her sincerity, I would say, by the barakah, the blessing of her sincerity and her concern for her grandchildren, they will grow up well. Inshallah. They will grow up well. So understand one thing, okay? While we mention ideals in the family unit, there are families, of course, that cannot fit the ideal. Like circumstances prevent them from fitting the ideal, like broken families, fathers who are missing, even orphans, fathers who are in prison, and so on and so forth. There are families that don't fit the ideal. It does not mean that just because you don't fit the ideal, that you cannot gain from the benefit that's there. Does not mean that. When we speak about the ideal, we're calling on people who can fit it, people who can provide, fathering of children or mothering of children, those who are able to make this a priority. That is the goal of this speech, right? When we speak about these things, we're trying to call on parents to stop being negligent and to start backing up with regards to parenting their children. Okay, that is one type of family unit. All right. There are many other types of family units that cannot fulfill these conditions, right? And for each and every one of them, there is a different directive. You get me? Right? So I'm speaking right now on the ideal family, not the ideal, but also the complete family. So a family that is complete, father and mother present, right? They're both in the home, kids are in the home, but basically parents are not taking charge of tarbiyah. I'm speaking to these people. Right? I'm speaking to these people. Okay? Right. So then you have other units, family units of broken families, different speech to them. Right? Families whereby father is in the prison, different speech to them. Mother drug addict, different speech to them. Right? To those people who are doing tarbiyah and they are not the parents, their grandparents or their uncles, their aunties. Okay, it's a different speech to them. You get me? Like so many different situations. You get me? You get me? Right. So I'm not speaking about this is one this person I'm talking about is on a full unit, a full family unit. Then with specific situations, you need to bring your situation, to an ustada, and get them to look into the matter and to see what is best. You get me? And so when it goes into unique situations, not non, like you say, mainstream situations, like basically the situations that are anomalous, right? Then you go into the situation. You get me? Right? So with regards to fathers who are in prison, like how much for them to visit the father in prison is very awkward for them to go and visit and talk about things, right? Try your best, try your best to visit them, to have them visit their father as much as possible, right? Because the connection is important. It is more important, the connection, right? And there is place over the process. You get me? For them to be connected to their father is placed over the process. And also it makes him realize he has responsibility. So hopefully he bucks up and hopefully he gets he you made dua that he strives to be a better person. He strives to be a better individual for the sake of his children. And so I would say as often as you can. as often as you can go, right, to visit the children's father, bring their kids with you to see their father, and talk about it. Right? Talk about it, have the father talk to them, connect with them. It is important. It is important, right? Yeah, I know. I don't like the Singapore system of study all the time. I dislike it a lot. Right? Asar time is really playtime. I know people are sending their kids for tuition at asar time. Asar time is playtime. Is playtime. Right? Usually after so you say morning is school time, right? Dhuhr they rest, right? They rest after lunch, right? For us, we were growing up, we do our homework at Dhuhr. Asar is when we actually play, right? Maghrib to Isha is Salat, Salat in Quran, and Maghrib to Isha, right? After Isha, we actually do studying. My mother, she'll sit with us for an hour or half an hour after Isha, and she will go through with us our schoolwork. So my mother would give us tuition, and my mother would do that to us. And I think primary school, it's not a hard word, primary school. English, math, science, just do it. It's very easy. I mean, if your kids can learn it, so can you. Think about it. Like, if your kids can learn this stuff, so can you. And I'm thinking about primary school level. All right. Secondary school, they should be more independent in their own, studying. I think our kids, when I was in secondary school, right, I would push myself to study by myself. Like really, I would push myself to do my own notes and study by myself. I had no tuition. I had no tuition, just study by myself. I don't know, Allahu Alam. I know people in Singapore are different, it's a completely different culture. People are doing all kinds of tuition, whatsoever. But really, in the Rusibian, in this poetry, this poem on raising children, too much studying kills the heart. Kills the heart meaning what? They cannot connect with other people and they cannot connect to the religion. It kills the heart. Too much studying kills the heart. So you need to have this playtime. So it's very unhealthy, our lifestyle, that the kids they go from school, they rest in school again, go to school again, like, and then they rest, and then there's the end of the day. No sun time. Play out, go out and cycle, go out and play, go to the park. Where's your sun time? Right? Be in the sun. The sun is natural for good emotions, right? It's why we have so many emotional problems now in our kids because they're not in the sun. And so I would say, really, have your priorities, right? So I don't know. I am very much against this entire tuition culture. Like my family are tutors, we all tutors, as we know all about it. But I don't know, subhanAllah, I would say teach them at night, teach them at night. I would just say that, and after Isha, half an hour every single day, half an hour after Isha, it's good enough. Isha is 8:30, by 9 they sleep, right? If you can do that. If they are too young, then they don't need tuition. If they're primary 2, they don't need tuition. If they're primary 5, primary 6, sleeping at 9 is fine, right? They can sleep at 9. Correct. The math in primary school is the same. I mean, honestly, and frankly, when I speak to my husband, the math in primary school from our Zaman to now is the same. There are some questions that are hard. This is to distinguish people who are distinguished, yani, in distinction from the rest of them. So every single year, their complaint on the maths paper is on these few questions that are to distinguish those of distinction over the rest. But if you look at the paper as a whole, it's a fine paper. I've seen the paper every single year. The math in our primary school is actually it's just that. It's not hard. That's our system is not changing, mashallah, because it's really not hard. But we are any crazy in the way that we are. Allahu Alam. Right? So, subhanallah, right? So let them so they really, really, if they're not having their playtime, they come back, if primary school kids are coming back at Asar, why are you coming back at Asar for? Primary school kids. And then madrasa play at Asar. Really, really, you know what? I'm not gonna give you all any excuses to why they have no playtime. You need to give them playtime for primary school children, especially. Right? If you choose to send them to madrasa and they come back by Asar, then Asar is their playtime and that's not to be touched. You see, it will go a long way, especially in their emotional development. You're having kids fall into depression because they're not getting enough sun. Understand this, put it into our heads. This is very important. Do not underestimate the importance of playtime. Do not underestimate this. Don't underestimate the importance of playtime under the sun. Do not underestimate this. It does so much for a human being to go to the sand and the grass and play, especially children below the age of puberty, right? For secondary school, and they come back by Maghrib. Why? Last time secondary school, I finished at 1:40. I come home by the time I'm home at 2 o'clock. Like, I mean, why are they in school so long? CCA? What kind of CCA are they in? I choose CCAs that were only once a week or twice a week. Like, why are they in CCAs that are like every single day? Right? Why? And then they will compromise in their religion. They will compromise on so many other things. Life is not school. Can we understand that, as Singaporeans? Life is not school. Life is so many things. Can we teach them that? And that when they grow up in this way, then when their whole life is school, then their whole life will be work thereafter. It's a vicious cycle. They don't know how to live. Get me? No religion, no health, like no, it's very unhealthy. Can we find a way and make it a priority? So I'm saying all these things to give you a food for thought and you to look at the situation and to see how can we help our children. And you know what? Get rid of any computer games, right? Get rid of any computer games. If you say, okay, fine, they come back Maghrib, right? Okay, Maghrib to Isha, it is religion. Strictly, Maghrib to Isha is religion, strictly. Okay, only deen. Maghrib to Isha, Quran or lessons or stories, whatever it has to be deen, ratib, right? Maghrib to Isha, strictly religion. Okay, Isha onwards, you can have conversation, go ahead have conversation with them. You can play some games with them, go ahead play some games with them. Right? So Isha is about half an hour. Right? After that, and even if they're in secondary school, try and train them to wake up early in the morning and study. It does a world of difference to study before Fajr. I used to do that when I was in secondary school. I would wake up before Fajr, I would study. Right? It does so much for you in understanding what you're studying. Right? But we allow our kids to be lazy. Right? If you can train them on this and teach them to do this, there'll be a world of difference. I mean, I appreciate my mother that she trained us on this. That I would get up before Fajr and study my science, my math, my English, my humanities. I would do notes at 4 a.m. in the morning, 5 a.m. in the morning. Then I'll go to school fresh. It was a lifestyle, mashallah. My mother, she encouraged it. But I know we ourselves has to first wake. We have to wake up before Fajr. We must wake up first, right? Think about it. Okay, Alhamdulillah. Right. So basically, even for a verbally abusive father, right? There is still a need for them to know their father because the religion calls them to birrul walidain, right? So the question here about fathers who badmouth their mother and so on and so forth, right? Basically, before they go see their father, right? And these are parents who are toxic. They are toxic parents, and they exist in our world, unfortunately. But there is a compulsion in our religion that children must show goodness to their parents. So if this is not built when they are young, how are they going to discharge this responsibility when they're older? Right? They don't know how to be good to their father, right? So it's on the mother right now, who has education in religion, and hopefully you are that someone speaks to the father, right, to teach him, what is right for his children, right, to nurture them. But on the mother to say to them, "This is your father." He will say terrible things. He has his way, right? But you are to respect him and to love him because Allah has called for that, right? Allah has called for that. Then there has to be a lot of work with regards to their emotions, regards to them handling it. And honestly, if it's done well, it will have them grow stronger. They will be stronger. And they will see their father with the eye of compassion. And this will it will lead them to be higher Muslims, that they have abusive fathers and they can still have compassion and love for their abusive father. You get me? You get me? At the end of the day, like for them to see their father as a soul as well, like who's struggling in life. So the mother has a lot of talk to do, a lot of talk to do to that kind of guide the emotions here, right? Because they do have a duty of being good to their father. There is a duty there, right? So now the mother has to do a lot of work, right? Because tarbiyah in this way. As I mentioned, there are the cases that are not mainstream, and there are mainstream cases. Then there are cases that are they're on the sides, and all of these cases you actually need very very close guidance as to how to handle them, right? So through your local ustada, your satizas to teach you all how do you get to this, all right? How do you maneuver this, and what's the best way, right? Especially with regards to what the religion calls us to, which is righteousness to our parents. You get it? Right? So while you feel it's more damage, then you make an intention to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, "Ya Allah, I am bringing them to their father, right? Because there is a right of the father for his children and a right for children for their father. Ya Allah, and also to respect your law, Ya Allah, that you have commanded righteousness towards parents and you have commanded tarbiyah onto children. Allah has commanded this, right? And Ya Allah, by my obedience of you, right, bless them in their upbringing and raise them well. Because at the end of the day, the one who raises the children is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So don't fear that when you are doing something that is in line with what Allah has commanded, don't fear that it will go wrong. Allah is in charge. Understand that. Allah is in charge of their emotions. Allah is in charge of their upbringing. Allah is in charge. So you do things right. And trust me, I have no doubt that they will see things or they will see all these negative things. And inshallah, you know what? Inshallah, they will grow up to be strong Muslims to help people who went through what they went through. And that's powerful. That is powerful, right? Because like, I didn't go through such upbringing. I didn't go through an abusive father or father with in prison. Can you imagine if an ustada in the future, right, who had gone through that? They went through very abusive, parenting. They went through, parents who were in prison. They went through all that. Can you see how powerful that would be in them helping other people? Make your intentions and make them wide, make them vast. That, inshallah, as you all grow older, I really hope that you all see what's going on and you have this, build you in your character, in your akhlaq, in your deen. Speak to your children, speak to them. Be honest, right? And inshallah, and you all love Allah, love the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Many people go through what you go through, right? And maybe, inshallah, you can help other people because you've been there, you have stood in those shoes. You know exactly what it feels like. I can't say because I'm not there. I've never been in those shoes. I had, alhamdulillah, a very good upbringing. For my parents, may Allah reward them greatly, greatly, mashallah. But so I would say it is, in a sense, I know people who went through it, then now you help other people who are going through it. It's powerful. You think about it, right? And understand that damage is only but what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows. So you make your du'as, make your intentions. Allah will preserve your children. If you hold on to the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Subhanallah. Right. So naam, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Right? It's a lot of work. Right. So it is, as I said from the beginning, tarbiyah is a lot of work. It takes the entire society to get involved in trying to raise children. Right? It is the whole society. That is why we're failing because we're so busy with our dunya. Right? But tarbiyah is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Subhanallah. Like, I know myself, it's Allah's, plan, Allah's, taqdeer, his decree. That I know if I had children right now, I won't be in a university right now. I won't be studying the way I'm studying right now. I can't. I can't give my kids their rights and be round the clock studying. I can't, right? I have to cut down on certain things. Get me? Right? So subhanallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect our children. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve them. I am on the night of Eid, so dua is mustajab. You are on the day of Arafah, dua mustajab, inshallah, du'as are answered. Get them to make dua for if they have fathers that are really wayward, fathers that are really like, in prison, fathers that are negligent. Get Teach them to make dua for their fathers. Teach them, right? To love, because dua builds love. So teach them to make du'as for them. And their du'a will be accepted, inshallah, because they're children. Their du'a will be accepted. Say, make du'a for your father that he comes back to us. Make du'a for your father that he is more involved in your life, that he can lead you. Make du'a that he becomes a better Muslim, inshallah. Make du'a that your father, he stops, whatever he's doing. Whatever, but you maintain a good opinion of their father. But teach him to make du'a. Subhanallah. My nephew, his father passed when he was 3 years old. Right? So we would teach him every day, do a Fatiha for your father. And we will not tell him anything that is negative about his father. Of course, it's tarbiyah, right? So where you can control, you control. And where is beyond your control, you do dua for that. Right? So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless our children. May Allah make them the cones of the eye of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah by this great day of Arafah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make all of them imams of the muttaqeen and the leaders of those who are righteous. The dua of Nabi Ibrahim is powerful. Nabi Ibrahim did not just aim for them to be righteous. Nabi Ibrahim aimed for them to be leaders of those who are righteous. That's what I'm talking about. That these kids who go through very painful upbringings, very broken homes, if they become leaders of the righteous, they can really help so many people. Subhanallah. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. Have high goals. You have high goals, have high, open up your mashhad, have high visions, you know, have high hopes for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is not beyond Allah, right, to make your kids of the sabiqun, of the first and the foremost of their zaman. It is not beyond Allah. Aim high for them in their religion. الفاتحة نور رزق نافع وعملا خاص من هدى وإلى أرواح معالي من مشايخنا وذوي علينا وإلى حضرة النبي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم. الفاتحة. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. آمين. Takbir on the menses. Yeah, you can. Takbir, you can do it on your menses without wudu. Doesn't matter. It's not Quran. Okay? Only Quran you need to touch the Quran. You have to have wudu. But to any takbir is fine without wudu or without Quran, without on your menses is fine. Okay? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.